Can a universe of flashy samurai and with literal demons beat a high schooler?
Daddy isn't done speaking.
With the Demon Slayer movie coming up in the new season of My Hero Academia, we're deciding to put just Deku versus the entirety of Demon Slayer. So we're going to scale Deku first, and the only ways he can win is if he stalls so the sun can come up, or if he just deletes them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just to let you guys know, we have talked about Demon Slayer and Deku in the past, so we won't go too in depth with that topic. So starting off with All Might Strength, we're going to use his 60 times booster because he said in his heyday, it would have taken him 5 punches to beat Nomu instead of 300. So that means All Might was 60 times stronger in his prime and 60 times stronger than this version of All Might, which is way weaker. And this version of All Might created a tornado that carried like half a building. We did scale this with wonky math, and we got anywhere from like 1.5 million pounds of force to like 9.57 million pounds of force. And then we got slap that 60 times booster on because this was weakened All Might, and then we get anywhere from 2.97 tons of TNT to 18.6 tons of TNT. So yeah, that's pretty strong. And for reference, 18.6 tons of TNT is almost as strong as the Taijin bomb in China. Then it stated that he's as durable as Prime All Might by himself and Endeavor, and even as fast as Prime All Might. So when Shigaraki says he's as strong as All Might, we can assume he means Prime. So using that assumption, saying Shigaraki is as strong as Prime All Might, Deku is able to match Shigaraki at 45%, which does kind of make sense because the more the quirk gets passed down, the stronger One For All gets. So this dude Deku at 45% is able to put out small bomb levels of energy. And Deku has a move where he can put out 5 punches instantaneously. So he's outputting those bomb level attacks, but times 5 because he hits it in the same place 5 times instantaneously. And that doesn't knock out Shigaraki, but what did knock him out was the 120% overdrive that Deku did, which means his overdrive punch, just one punch, is stronger than a quintuple punch. His overdrive punch has to at least be 5 times stronger than his quintuple one. So multiplying everything by 5 and then 5 again, we can get anywhere from like his quintuple punch being like 14.85 tons of TNT, and then his overdrive punch plus the quintuple punch, if he does that with his overdrive punch, being like 74.25 tons of TNT. Yeah, so literal bomb levels of energy. And if you don't want to use the 60 times booster we did for All Might, we also did scale Bakugo and Deku getting rid of an entire storm, and we lowballed it and said it was like 12,000 tons of TNT. And this is what 12,000 tons of TNT would do to London and Houston, Texas. And the movies are canon, by the way, and this was before all the war stuff happened. That means Deku can probably output more than 12,000 tons of TNT.
It's over, Gihan! Plus Ultra!
If you don't believe Deku's really like that, look at what he is doing, bro. What is this? Look at all these freaking cubes or whatever these shapes are, bro. And then he splits Dark Might ships, or I guess a mountain, and then he also can change the whole weather of a country. Anyways, and this is on the higher end of things, which we're not going to use because we're going to lowball him today. Sorry for all the Deku moon level people or planetary Deku, which I think is crazy, okay? We think maybe the highest is country level, because thanks to you guys, because you guys said Deku had the embers of One For All, basically what's left of it, and he was still able to change the weather of a country. So yes, we read comments, and yes, we do leave out things sometimes. That's why you guys should comment, you know? I'll put on my big boy pants and admit sometimes we are slow, so you guys should definitely like, subscribe, comment, and tell us if we missed anything in this video. But taking a step back, the high end that we think Deku could really be is like country or small country, but in the end we're using lowball Deku for most of the stuff that we're gonna do anyways. Hey Vegeta, who's that guy? I want to fight him.
No, Kakarot, don't do it.
Why not, Vegeta?
Because we're on the street.
Come on, Vegeta, what does that have to do with... So for speed, we're going to make this quick, no pun intended. So in this video, we use Lady Nagant's sniper and compared it to real snipers, calculated the distance that those real snipers would take to meet overhaul over like a very rough estimate of distance. And then we got rid of air resistance, meaning that the bullet never slowed down as it was traveling to overhaul. Determined that Deku did in fact catch up to the bullet, meaning he moved faster than the bullet. And then we got him anywhere between 218 to 656 times the speed of sound. And he was using 100% Fajin. And what Fajin is you build up a bunch of kinetic energy and then you release it all at once somewhere. But even though he was using Fajin, I mean, he still has his overdrive that makes him faster and his gear shift that makes him faster. So we don't think like 218 or 656 times the speed of sound is outlandish. Or we can also be like, he's light speed.
Whoa, don't click off the video.
Look, we're not going to use naval laser because like for some reason everyone can react to it. We're going to use stars and stripes lasers, and Shigaraki reacted and reflected them. And this was Shigaraki's incomplete form. And then when Deku pulled up on Shigaraki, he looked at Shigaraki and Shigaraki looked at him and Deku still blitzed him. So someone that can react to light looked at someone and still got blitzed. And then Deku still has his gear shifts that can bend the laws of physics, making him faster, and his overdrive that makes him faster, and all that mess. He also has black whip to like grab you and swing you around and swing himself around. And he also has danger sense, which is exactly like Spidey sense. It can even sense dangerous intent. And when Shigaraki took his quirk, he was like, oh, this is how you've been dodging me. So like danger sense is goated. So on the low ball, low end, we got 218 times the speed of sound. For the high ball, we're gonna say light speed. I know I said he could be faster than light, but for right now, we're gonna say light speed. But of course, again, we're just going to use the low ball stuff for now, and we're going to move on to see if Demon Slayer can clap Deku.
So let's be super real right here. There is honestly not much the Slayers can do in this situation. Yes, reacting to light is faster than Mach 218, but it's not even twice as fast, and if the Slayers do damage him, he will build kinetic energy, use his gear shift, 120 overdrive, and more than likely anticipate attacks using his danger sense. It could be even worse than we thought. Of course, Deku isn't going to just whip out all those abilities at once. He's going to have to take a couple of hits, so I guess we'd have to talk about durability. Full power or complete Shigaraki is equal to prime All Might, and we said the lowest he can put out is like 2.97 tons of TNT, and Deku just be taking these hits. And for reference, this is what 3 tons of TNT does to Houston, Texas. But Deku was just taking all of this force into a singular spot. And yes, there is a difference between you surviving an explosion and an attack as strong as that said explosion in a single point. The strongest stuff we've seen from the Hashira is like keeping up with these dudes that could just incinerate a building with ease. So they could be anywhere to like building level to large building level. Yes, we know that Gitaro's final attack destroyed an entire town, but it was multiple slashes, all with like large building levels of power just ravaging through the town. Hopefully you guys know what that means, and if you don't, skip to this timestamp because I'm about to explain. This was a big output of energy, not just one output. For example, if you, who has like town level durability, gets hit by a bunch of slashes that are building level, yes, it could injure you, but you should take it like Maharaga. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So low-key, Deku is almost as fast and will probably bend all of them over if he even hits them once. Not to mention all of the abilities he has in this fight to help him. And keep in mind, we nerfed Deku to the ground.
Something that can pose a threat to Deku for sure is Transparent World, and everything feels and looks slowed down. Deku could always play distance, or he could just nuke them, I can't lie. I know we said we're going to use 2.97 tons of TNT, but this is undeniable proof that Deku can like shatter a mountain or split a mountain. So yeah, if Deku just hits this move, the Hashira are getting blown away, dude. And remember, the reaction speeds are like really fast, but the movement speeds themselves, like the Hashira's travel speeds, are not catching Deku, I'm sorry. If they do, they're not hurting him. And if the Hashira have a slim chance of winning against a low ball Deku, then I mean, come on.
But now, let's get into the real threats, the demons. So the speed of the demons, or I guess the reaction speeds, are different as Kokoshibo was able to blitz Gyome, the strongest Hashira, and Gyome should be relative or even stronger than Misuri, who was once reacting to lightning, and Muzan, who was like weakened by 4 different poisons and slammed all of the Hashira at once without much of a struggle. So yeah, Deku might have a hard time fighting Kokoshibo, and Muzan, not even considering the fact that these demons regenerate and heal extremely quick. So blunt attacks won't do anything unless Deku atomizes them. So there's really 2 scenarios that would give Deku the win, which would be touching their souls, negating their durability, and knocking them out. If that's not a possibility, Deku has insane stamina, no rest days on end. Fighting, and even if his body gets tired, he can wrap himself up in Black Whip, forcing his body to move. So if we want to bring in the possibility of stalling until sunrise, Deku can for sure accomplish that. Now the problem for Deku is Imu, who can put him to sleep. Gyutaro and Gyoku, they can poison him. And Muzan can give you dead cells that can kill you. And Deku's gonna have a bad time. He can definitely stall until daytime, and he's durable enough not to get donuted. But if you're fighting a bunch of malnourished teens that constantly throw themselves on you, or even put you to sleep, poison you, or just kill your cells, you're bound to fall. Like, they're practically dead if Deku can affect their souls, which they all have a human remnant, and he could just make them not want to be demons anymore. That could work, but he'd have to touch them first, and there's too many deadly factors that Deku has to worry about. And they're way too fast for his danger sense to really help out. But using Gear Shift might change the tide of this battle. After he used Gear Shift, he was completely blitzing Shigaraki. Gear Shift does make him incredibly faster, and he can potentially take out a few demons, but in the end, we do see him falling short. This is also super nerfed nuked Deku. If we use the higher end scaling, which is light speed, the demons are not touching him and Deku wins easily if we use the soul theory. But if we don't, then Deku will just toy with them until the sun comes up. So lowball Deku just squeezes by if he gets lucky, so he can't get hit by Emu's dream hacks, poisons, and Muzan. But it's not likely that he would win, so we say that he lose that fight. High end of the lowball, he would most likely win due to his danger sense, better speeds, and lots of stamina. This is assuming he knows what the demons do and avoids them the entire time, or plays it safe because the only one that could possibly pose a threat is Muzan. If Deku has no idea what's going on and gets careless, he more than likely loses. But again, danger sense would play a big role in this, so we say that Deku would most likely take it if we give him the 618 times the speed of sound, and even though the demons can regenerate, they could still be knocked back hundreds of feet or get hit so much that they get buried into the floor. We really want y'all to know that we really lowball Deku.
One more thing, if Deku is able to like completely nuke them and shatter them into a bunch of different pieces, like what Yoruichi did to Muzan, then maybe it will take a long time for the demons to heal, and thus, you know, the sun comes up and they're cooked. But Yoruichi did use a sun blade, so it's up to your interpretation if Deku can do that or not. And going back to the super lowball Deku of 200 times the speed of sound, Deku can also play distance with his fingers again. But with lowball Deku of 200 plus times the speed of sound, we think the demon's reaction times are way too fast, and if Deku gets close, he's cooked. But if you do want to say Deku's able to nuke them into a million pieces and it takes them a billion years to regenerate and they die to the sun, then Deku wins easily. So yes, based on your interpretation, we say Deku loses to the demons like lowball Deku. Like higher up lowball Deku, we would say he can squeeze through, and lightspeed Deku, he just slaughters all of them. So it's really based on your interpretation of Deku. And remember, it's just a video. If you want to scale Deku to moon level, we definitely disagree with that. But hey, I mean, go for it.